Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 13. Warning, rants ahead.
This is going to be a fun one. And we're talking about rants. We're not talking about getting annoyed with people that don't indicate when going round roundabouts, and we're not talking about racists or sexist behavior or trolls. We're going to try and kind of keep our rants within the VA realm, aren't we?
Yeah, we certainly are. Who's
Right.
going to go first, Sam, me or you?
Shall I go first?
Excited? You go.
I am excited. I mean, I like a good rant. I think it's actually really good to get stuff out sometimes. We're all about, you see it everywhere nowadays. You see all this kind of like, it's all about being positive and what are you grateful? We do it. What are you grateful for? What are you celebrating? What's the positive things that have happened? And what are your goals? But actually, sometimes we just need to get stuff off our chests, and everyone is the same. I think it's healthy. It's like if you haven't cried for a long time, and then you watch a soppy movie or something, and it all comes out. But how good do you feel afterwards?
Yeah, it's a good release, and a good release in a safe environment, and somewhere where you can feel like you can talk about things that are annoying you or things that frustrate you. And I think this is a really great forum to do that.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to hear our rants, then please don't listen to this episode. But there are some things that are really frustrating in the virtual assistant industry. And some people who are listening might think, oh, okay, I do that. So now I need to take do a bit of a check of myself and see if I can make some changes to make things better.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm sure some of the things are just going to be rants, and they're probably not going to be any takeaways, but hopefully there are going to be some rants that do have some takeaways.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, shall I go first?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. One of the things that really, really frustrates me is people lumping all virtual assistants into one. So if they've had a poor experience with the first virtual assistant that they've ever had any contact with, that's it. They're anti-virtual assistant. They're really, really wary. They share this negative experience that they've had. And it just makes me think, if you were in a corporate 9-to-5 role and you've employed 100 employees, not every single one of those 100 employees is going to be the perfect fit for your organization, are they? Exactly. You're going to have some that come and go. There's going to be some that you have to manage out. Now, it's exactly the same with virtual assistants. You can't expect that first virtual assistant that you've ever contacted to be the perfect fit for you. So please don't let that sour your opinion of all virtual assistants worldwide.
That's a great one because, I think the same too. There's a lot of people who are very anti-virtual assistants because they might have had one bad experience. But great point.
Thank you. Started off well.
Yeah.
All right, what's your first one?
My one is my frustration when virtual assistants who are just starting out have obviously heard someone say, oh, you've got to get a website, or they just assume that you have to have a website, or someone who's a virtual assistant and has clients says, oh, I got my clients through my website, so they automatically think they need a website. Oh my gosh. No matter how much we talk about this, people are still insistent on creating a website right at the very beginning, even before they launch. We're not anti-websites. Absolutely, you need a website. Later on down the track, just get those first few clients under your belt. And oh my gosh, the amount of times that I see new virtual assistants say, oh, I'm working on my website. And I'm like, this is not the thing to be doing. It's going to take way too much time. And you're not going to get leads through your website. You might give someone your website address and they go to your website and have a look at it, and then they might become a client. But you can just do that with a LinkedIn profile or something easy to begin with. And
Yeah.
spending all that time and effort on a website, you're not going to rank on the first page for quite some time, and it's going to take a lot of hours and work and figuring out SEO and working hard on backlinks and all sorts of other things to actually get you to the first page. So yeah, I can't stress enough how frustrating it is that so many virtual assistants spend so much time and energy unnecessarily in the beginning.
I know, when there is a dozen more important things to be focusing on right at the start. At least a dozen. There's probably more. But yeah, I agree. And I knew you were going to bring this one up, because this is definitely a bugbear. This is something that you're very, very passionate about. And so you should be. Absolutely. I agree 100%. We see virtual assistants, because it's a fun thing to do, and because it's exciting and it's sexy, and it's, and they see everybody else having websites, they think that's the first thing that they need to be doing. And it absolutely 100% is not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So next time I see that, I just always imagine the facepalm emoji. Just no.
Funny. All right. My next one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for it?
I am.
Clients that don't value you. And when I say they don't value it, I'm talking about whether they don't value your time, or they don't value your skills and expertise and knowledge. Because I think we've probably all had at least one client somewhere in our careers that have been that way, whether it's the time or the advice that you're giving them, they just don't take it. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, I think we've had multiple clients. When you say at least one, absolutely. And yeah, it's the ones that also say, "Oh, did it really take 2 hours to do that?" And it's like,
Oh,
"Yeah, oh my gosh, it really did." We're
yes.
savvy, and it really does take that long. I think people forget that you've got to log in, you need to get your bearings of,
Mm,
plan what you're gonna do. Yeah, you need to review, you need to test, you need to, all those surrounding things outside of just actioning the task, that are
yes.
so
Yes.
important and you have to do a really great job. And I just don't think that clients realize. People always underestimate how much time something
Yeah.
takes.
Hmm.
Always, always, always. And yeah, that's the part that annoys me about the not valuing the
Yes.
virtual assistant is.
Yeah, and I know some of it. I mean, some of it's on the virtual assistant. Like, I know that when that started happening to me, I realized that the only thing that was going to change it was me putting a stop to it somehow, whether that was the way I was communicating my value, or whether it was my boundaries weren't strong enough in terms of, like, especially the time, not valuing my time, expecting you to be available all hours, or saying that, yes, you want you available on Wednesday, we're going to do this on Wednesday, and then Wednesday comes and then there's no work and you've put that Wednesday aside.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of clients, especially when I was doing offering social media management back in the day. They'd come to me, they'd ask my advice. They obviously didn't like the advice or didn't trust the advice I was giving them. I'm not sure. So we would go along their track rather than my track, and it wouldn't work.
Oh.
And then they would come back, a few months later and just say, "Oh, I've just read this really interesting blog post from such and such a person, or I've met this person in a networking event today, and they've told me this about social media." I'm like, well, that's exactly what I told you like 6 months ago, that you didn't want to take that route. Like,
Didn't want to hear. Yeah. Yeah. Weren't ready to hear that. Yeah. Oh, that is frustrating.
Yeah. I know one client in particular, that was the end for me. That was it. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do a Dear Jane letter, and I did not long afterwards. It was the final straw. That wasn't the only thing. There'd been other stuff like that throughout the year that I'd been working for them, but that was literally the final straw. I thought, well, what is that person in that conversation they had with that person they met in this networking event? what were they saying about the VA? Because she'd obviously completely forgotten about this advice that I'd given her.
Mm.
Had she been saying then, oh, well, that's not what my VA's been doing for me? You know, reputation's everything.
Yep. So stick to your guns, right? Just
Yeah,
say, no,
absolutely.
if we're not going to do this, then we're not going to go forward.
Yeah,
maybe we can't.
exactly. Really good lesson. Really good lesson.
Cool. Oh, my next one is there is something that I live by in my business, and I think every business owner at some point needs to figure this out. If they keep saying that no, that's not the case, they're never going to really break through in their business and have it super successful. And it is that every single problem that you're having in your business is you.
Yes.
It's because of you. You can change it. It's because of what you do, what you say, what you don't say, how you've communicated. Every problem in your business, it's you.
Yeah.
Every single problem. And anyone who tries to say, "Oh, no, but my team member did this." Yeah, well, it's actually still you. You're the problem because you haven't communicated, you haven't set expectations, you haven't trained, you haven't done something, or and the fact that you even hired them and they're doing something, like, yeah, it's your fault that something
Mhm.
is happening in your business. So it's like taking ownership and responsibility and accountability for every single thing in your business. If you're not finding clients, if you are having issues with team members, if you're getting bad feedback from clients, like it's all you, and you
Yeah.
have something that you need to change, do differently, figure out, ask questions, get an expert, get a coach, something to help you through that. Because, yeah, every single problem in your business is you.
That is so true. It really, really is. That's a great one.
Mm.
I don't have a lot of patience for this is going to sound really cold. And if my mum is listening to this, she's going to go, yeah, that's you to a T. I don't have any patience for people that play that the victim card all the time.
Mm.
I just don't. Like you, it's up to you. This is your business. This is your life. Yeah, shit happens. Really bad stuff happens, but you know what? It happens to everybody. It
Mm.
really does. And it's how you react to those situations, isn't it? That's key. That's key
Yeah.
to moving on and growing and improving.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's you playing the victim card and trying to blame other people for what's
Yeah.
happening to you. Like, yeah, we've got to stop doing that in our
Mm,
businesses. It is you. It's up to you, and you've got to figure out where you go to get help, how you
yeah.
change it, yeah, what you do next.
And sometimes it's a really difficult conversation to have with somebody, or it actually means taking a horrible look at yourself.
Mm.
Like it's like standing in front of the mirror naked, isn't it? You know, it takes a lot of bravery sometimes, or for some people to do that. But that's what you need to do. If there's, as you said, if there's something not working, you actually have to be really, really honest at yourself and look at you and what it is that you're doing.
Yep,
100%. That's a great one, Joe. Oh, I'm next.
you are next.
Okay, this one's a little kind of off the track that we've been on up until this point, but I am so over Google My Business and their verification process to get the Google My Business account set up. They just it does my head in, and I know there's a lot of talk right now about how COVID-19 is affecting the timings with sending out their postcards and stuff like that.
Mhm.
No, this was happening well before COVID. Like I've done them multiple times, and I don't think there's once that I have requested that postcard to come through for my account to be verified, so everything can go hunky dory. I don't think I've ever just been able to request it once. I think I've always had to request it about 3 times at least. And
Oh,
the
wow.
last one that I've done, the first time I requested it was January, and I am still waiting. So I've done like 5 different requests, and you can't get in touch with anybody. It's so
No.
annoying.
It's really hard to speak to anyone in those sorts of corporations, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And, all the advice that you read online is you've just got to keep on requesting. You got to keep on requesting. So now I'm just like this crazy person when it comes to the letterbox. And I've drilled into my kids, don't throw anything away, anything that looks like it's junk. Give it to me anyway, And then the kids, we live in a cul-de-sac, and a lot of the neighborhood kids, they kind of get together after school and at weekends, and they play and stuff. And their latest game for the young ones, the really little ones, is checking all the neighbors' letterboxes. And if there's something in there, they'll then go post it to someone else, which we all know each other, so it's okay. But then I'm thinking, has my Google verification postcard been given to the neighbor instead, and they've thought it's junk and not given it to me? Paranoid. So paranoid.
Oh, I have not. I think maybe I'm not verified on there. Do you have to be like, explain what
Yeah.
the verified thing means? Like, does that make it live
Yeah,
or?
it does. It won't go live until it's verified.
Oh, right. I must have got mine super easy then, because mine are all up and.
It
Yeah.
can't just be me.
Sorry,
I
Sam.
can't be the only one wanting to rant about this.
All right.
Plum.
To sort of flow on to that, technology and it not working and being super slow. It's like we are now so trained into having super high expectations of tools and them just working every single time and perfectly. And any time that we have to wait for like 3 seconds when that like swirly thing is on the screen, that's so frustrating now. Haven't we? It's so crazy to think how impatient we are now. But
Yeah.
I have really high expectations of tools and technology. And if it's not working, it is really frustrating.
It
I
is.
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably a really bad thing because remember back in the day we would wait for dial-up, it would
That noise.
and we'd wait and wait and wait, and we were just patient because we knew that there was no other option. I think now because we know that it should work instantly first time and we're so used to high-speed internet, yeah, we've
Yes.
lost all of our patience now.
Yeah, I think we've been spoiled, and I don't think it's just technology. I think that's just the world has just become this convenience, hasn't it? So
Instant
everything is
gratification.
fast. Food is fast.
Mhm.
The supermarkets, your shopping can be fast because you can go through the express lane and do it yourself. You
Yep.
can, and I think it's made us really, really impatient. I think we probably were our generation that remembers that big dial-up squeal and sitting there for like 10 minutes. We've lost it. That patience that we had when we were kids, I think it's gone. I don't know how we can get it back.
No, but everything is instant gratification too. Like anything that you want, like in America, Amazon, you can order something and it's there like within a couple of hours on your doorstep. Like
It's
that's
amazing.
crazy.
Are they doing the drones? Are they doing the
Probably,
drones yet?
probably, yeah.
Yeah, but even TV, like if we're talking about that instant not wanting to wait, the way that networks like Netflix and stuff works now, it's designed that you will just sit there and you'll binge. It's just how they do it. I know my kids, they get most of their TV through streaming stuff like that. And then whenever they go to their grandparents who are watching, normal mainstream TV with adverts, they're just like, well, what's this? They don't understand.
Can we watch this right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I want to be able to watch Paw Patrol or whatever it is they want to watch, Peppa Pig. And it's like, oh, no, you don't get to choose here. It's just whatever's on. And they're like, what do you mean it's whatever's on? They just don't get it.
Wow, that's so interesting that generation's just not going to know what like
No.
some standard TV used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. My turn. Unsolicited advice.
Oh, yes. This is a great one for you.
This is such a good one for me. I don't take it well. It's I mean, if you catch me on a good day, then I can kind of let it go over me. But if you catch me on a bad day, I can take it really personally and get really, really angry, especially if it's from somebody that I don't know.
Mm.
So there's nothing worse for me than getting an email or a DM or a PM or, however this new person is contacting me for the very first time. And it starts off with, "Hi, my name's such and such. I'm a virtual assistant looking for work. Oh, and also I've been on your website and I found this, and this error." Like, really? this is how you like, I actually have no words for it. This is how much this type of approach blows my mind. Like, you are not going to get anywhere with me personally by pointing out mistakes. And sometimes the mistakes they're pointing out aren't even, like, they're not, like, they've made them up. So I don't know whether they're kind of just spammers. Like, I'm not sure. Or do they know that I really hate unsolicited advice? And has the word got out? And now everyone just sends me emails just to rile me up. I'm not sure.
You've had advice about like, oh, I think you should change the black that you have in the background of your website because it's really
Yes.
hard to read. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no, because that's what I want.
Yeah, that was from a stranger. That was someone that wasn't even, I hadn't promoted myself to this person. So I had written a blog post. This blog post did really well and it was shared, widely. And so some random person had read it and then reached out. The fact that they even have time in their day to send me an email telling me that they didn't like the color scheme on my website. It was too hard for them to read, but they thought that I should know in case it was putting off other people from reading my blog posts. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't like something, just go. Just close out, keep scrolling. You don't need to share your opinions unless they are asked for.
Exactly. All right. My next one is going to be when people think that they can just, in a Facebook group, post something that they want to try and promote that has absolutely no relevance to the Facebook group whatsoever. So in our virtual assistant Facebook group, I have people in there who will try and post selling like a page that has all of these shoes for sale. I'm like, how do you even think that it's okay that you can come into a group that someone has spent time and effort to build up and have this great community, and then you're just going to come in and you're trying to be super spammy, just trying to peddle whatever it is that you want to sell? Like, no,
Yeah.
no, go away, get out of the group,
Yes.
leave those groups for the topic that is meant for that group.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get where the logic that these people think that certain groups are gonna, is the right place just to spam about Bitcoin or whatever it's called, or crypto, whatever it is. I don't even know the right terms, but you see them all the time. Shoes, fashion.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. And I guess along those lines, it's the same thing if you have like our group. It's our free group. It's for virtual assistants, those wanting to become virtual assistants. And obviously we have a virtual assistant training and coaching. That's what we do. That's our business. And people come in and think that they can actually post about their own virtual assistant coaching and training. It's like,
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think it's a bit lazy because
yeah,
you're coming into someone else's group that they've built up, and you're trying to promote yourself when you should be spending your time and effort creating your own audience if you're gonna do
yeah,
that. So, yeah. So please, if anyone's listening, feel make sure that you are really thinking about what the purpose of the group is that you're in, and make sure that you contribute to that in a really valuable way rather
mm,
than taking away from it.
yeah,
There you go.
absolutely. Yep. Add value, build relationships. We talk about it all the time. Okay. Scammers. The amount of scammers that seem to be targeting virtual assistants right
Yeah,
now.
pretty bad.
Like, first off, why? Why are they targeting virtual assistants? Have you got
Because
any insight on that?
virtual assistants need work, and some of them can be quite desperate to get their first few clients, and
Ah,
they're so used to remote virtual working, and it's normal to communicate just over email, and
right.
so it's actually quite an easy way for them to get in and say, "Oh, can you do this work for me?" But then it's a total scam, and they scam virtual assistants out of money. Yep.
Oh, it's
Yep.
it's really, really scary. I saw, someone sharing their story today in a group that I belong to, and that I don't know how it happened. She didn't share the technical ins and outs, how the scammer got her bank account and
Mm.
all her security details in order to do this. But somehow, they took everything out of her bank account,
Aw.
wiped her out, like
Mm,
thousands of dollars.
mm,
Oh my gosh, how heartbreaking it would be. As you said, that a lot of virtual assistants, they really struggle to get the work anyway, don't they?
they do.
So these vulnerable ones that are accepting work where maybe they're not listening to those alarm bells, um, yeah, it's just really, really sad. And I think the thing that upsets me as well is it's created for me a real untrust around anybody new approaching me now.
Mm,
It's like I'm not taking I'm not taking anyone at face value anymore that I used to a few years ago. A few years ago, someone reached out, and why wouldn't I trust them? Of
mm,
course I would. Now, I haven't been scammed, so I haven't had a really bad experience. So I'm just kind of going off what I see happening worldwide and being really aware of all the signs. But, the weirdest little thing in someone reaching out to me for that first time via email, I'm now like, is that a red flag? Like, should I be worried about that?
mm,
And there was somebody that reached out recently, and he reached out to not only me but a wide range of virtual assistants in New Zealand. And I was like, this is a scam. This has to be a scam. Just in terms of just his whole approach, some of his wording that he used. It had more than one red flag. And it wasn't just me. There was others that had received the same email, and they were emailing me saying, what do you think about this? Like, it's so weird. What a strange thing to be saying, for this man to be saying. And it turns out that this guy was actually legit. He was a legit person that wanted to talk to a virtual assistant. He didn't want to hire a virtual assistant. He didn't want to become one either. So it was still a bit confusing as to his end game. But he was a real guy. He was a real guy. He was not a scammer. So it just goes to show that, well, it's just really sad. It's really sad that we can't trust and be really open to anybody now that approaches us.
We just have to be so suspicious all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
And because there are so many scammers, and I totally get that there are people in countries that are low socioeconomic, and there's in desperation they do this to help feed their family. Like, I get
Yeah.
that there's desperation in why they do it. I also think that there is a lot of scammers who are just out to make a lot of money, and they
Yeah.
do, and yeah, that's just what they've chosen as their profession,
Yeah.
which is really, really sad. And it makes us suspicious of people, because there are awful people in the world.
There are, and it's just such a shame when when naturally you want to be a welcome, open, honest, friendly person, to all of a sudden be kind of, not all of a sudden, but having to really watch everything now, and read everything 3 times before you reply, just in case. It's
Never open
sad.
an
It's
attachment,
sad.
never click a link.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, so I've got one. Virtual assistants who give the industry a really bad name. And this
Oh,
goes back
yeah.
to what you talked about in one of your very first rants. Oh my gosh, if you're gonna be a virtual assistant, can you please get organized, reply to people,
Yes.
be honest with people about what your skills and experience and knowledge is,
Mm.
and do a really great job. Stay in your lane, do the things that you're really good at, and offer those as services, because, oh my gosh, it's frustrating that virtual assistants give us a bad name because they aren't really committed, or are they not committed, or are they just not cut out to be a virtual assistant. Like, you've got to be organized. You've got to reply to people when they
Mm.
inquire. Like, it just looks really bad not to. And check your
Yeah.
junk, because they're
Yeah.
often in your junk.
I think that sometimes they come into it. It's an
Micromanage?
it's easy. They don't need any experience. I saw somebody, a virtual assistant, comment once. This was a while ago. It must have been a couple of years ago, in a group. Somebody had come in and they were like, I'm new to all this. I've only just heard about it, but it sounds really interesting and I'd love to know more. I'm a little bit worried because I don't really have any experience from what I can see, the services that everyone else offers. I don't know whether I've got that experience, but I'm still really interested. And this virtual assistant replied, oh, that's fine. Anyone can be a virtual assistant. Anyone. Like,
No, not
no,
anyone.
no. Everyone's got a certain set of skills and things that they're good at, aren't they? So, does that mean a mechanic can just set up their laptop and their mobile phone and become a virtual assistant? I mean, they might be a bloody awesome mechanic, but that doesn't mean they're going to be a really good virtual assistant. Like, it takes a different level of skill. Oh, I could have that. Yeah. That comment, I
You
was
could
like,
have reached through the
"Oh."
computer and throttled her.
Yeah. My head exploded with my rage.
Yeah. And then you wanted the facepalm emoji, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, crazy. No, not everyone can become one. And yeah, so
Well,
I agree. I think it's those that do it kind of, it helps those business owners that think virtual assistants are low value anyway. It just feeds into that when they do come across somebody that's become a virtual assistant that possibly shouldn't have become a virtual assistant. They're in it for the wrong reasons. It just feeds into it, and it undoes all of the work that we try to do day in and day out to raise the profile of virtual assistants and to, the virtual assistants that we're empowering and encouraging. And it just seems to undo all that work, all those years of work.
yeah. Okay.
My
Is it me?
turn.
Is it you?
What have I got left? Okay. This is an interesting one. It really annoys me that people think that everything should be free.
Mm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in comments where it's like, oh, but this isn't actually free, is it? And I'm like, yeah, it is literally free. But yes, I am asking for an email address. How is that not free? It's free. And why shouldn't I ask for an email address? I'm going to give you more value. If you don't want it, then don't put your email address in and don't
Yeah.
comment and leave wherever you are. Yeah. And we have definitely bred not bred, but we've definitely set a standard that you can get so much information for free now that
Yeah.
people sort of turn their nose up at, oh, do I really have to pay? Like, I could just get this on
Yes.
YouTube, or I can get this information from other places. It's like, well, that's fine. Then don't buy it.
Yeah.
But don't request that it should be free.
Yes.
Yeah, there's time and effort and value
Yeah.
that goes into creating things, and even if they are digital products, PDFs, videos, like, why should they be free? Absolutely. And I have purchased lots of courses. I've purchased lots of resources and invested in those things because absolutely I want the best information. I know that the paid stuff is going to be the best. And yeah, I'm willing to invest in my business and in my development, and more than happy to pass over money to people who have put the time into pulling that
Yeah.
all together and sharing their expertise.
Yeah.
I'm really, really sick of people expecting that everything is free and complaining when it's not.
Yeah, especially when both you and I, both with Savvy School, with the podcast, with another business that I handle, we do provide so much to so many people just because we're so passionate and we want to see people do well. So we do give a lot of value away for free anyway. And so then occasionally when we decide to package something up and put a price tag on it, and we don't ask a lot either. The prices we put on things are so good. They are so affordable for what they get. For them people to turn around and say, basically imply that we should not be making money from our businesses.
Yeah.
Is
it's
that
like
not?
everyone feels entitled.
Yeah.
Entitled to information and free and help and advice and stop being entitled. We're
Yeah,
not entitled
please.
to people giving anything away for free.
Yeah.
Especially we like people understand that if they get a physical thing that they pay, it's normal. But it feels like people don't value advice and help and digital products and that sort of stuff where it's less tangible, but like that actually takes a lot of experience, failures, mistakes, lessons to actually be able to give really amazing advice. So yeah, I think we should definitely value
Yeah.
people's advice and their help a lot more than we do.
Yeah, I agree. I sign up to loads. I'm like you. I sign up to loads of freebies, and for those that really kind of I then feel a connection with, I think, wow, I really want to see what else this person's got to offer. I absolutely then invest in them. It is their business. It's their livelihood. It's why we're all here.
Yep.
Right.
Great one. Oh, now I've got a rant about clients.
Oh, good.
We love lots of our clients. Then some clients are super frustrating. It's the clients that come to us, and so I'm talking about like from my perspective as an agency owner. They come to us and they're like, yep, I'm going to hire a virtual assistant. And we help them figure out like what the tasks are going to be. And then they don't take that next step to actually hand it over and actually delegate it to us and give us the information that we need and give us the logins.
Yeah.
You've got to realize that when you hire a virtual assistant, it is going to take time up front, and you have to invest that time and money up front to get that person off to the best start so that then you can get a long-term benefit. And if anyone who says, oh, my virtual assistant wasn't very good and it didn't work out, it goes back to my previous rant. Have you taken a look at yourself? What did you do that didn't make it work, didn't help them, didn't give them the information they need? Did you not communicate? Did you not trust them and hand things over? What did you do? Because if you go through 5 or 6 virtual assistants and at the end of it you're still saying it's because virtual assistants aren't very good and you haven't taken a look at yourself, I think it's time to have a look at yourself. They call it like what's the common denominator here? It is you. So if you have gone through a lot of virtual assistants, either you're not paying enough, you're not choosing high level virtual assistants, or it's actually you. You have not done what you need to do. You haven't played your part in the relationship to get it off to the good start.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Because virtual assistants want to help, and they are amazing when you give them the information that they need and invest that time up front.
Yeah. So my one's kind of going to lead into that or from that a little bit. I'm going to talk about ghosting. Clients that ghost you. So it's kind of a little bit the same, but a little bit different as well, isn't it? Because, I think if that is happening to you, I think you do need to have a look at your own processes and what your own communication skills. But also, it's just rude. It is really rude on the client's part. If they've reached out to a handful of virtual assistants to get an idea of prices and availability and services, and that virtual assistant has gone out of their way to reply and in a meaningful way, then the very least these leads can do is just to say, thank you so much, but I'm going in a different direction. At the very least.
And
Well,
it doesn't.
it's time, isn't it? It's time the virtual assistants have given this person. And some, I've heard of one very recently. Um, did almost 2 hours, in 2 1 hour blocks of initial consultations with somebody, with
Mm.
one particular client. Then she thought it was a done deal. She was expecting this client to basically sign the contract. He then comes back and decides that no, it's actually not what he wants to do, after all.
Oh,
Like, you've just wasted, probably, if that's 2 1 hour meetings, there's other kind of homework that virtual assistant had to do about the business to start with, and maybe put together a specialist proposal. There's potentially 3 hours of work that virtual assistant's given this lead for them just to go, nah, kind of changed my mind.
yeah. It's like a client lead needs to do their own research on the virtual assistants first
Yes.
and do some work up front to figure out who's going to be the best option for them, and then have a 15-20 minute phone call is absolutely all that is needed, because you shouldn't be going through, unless the client has committed to say, yes, I want to engage your services, you shouldn't be going through all of the tasks that you would possibly do for them and detail about something that, projects and stuff like that. That should be in the handover.
Yeah.
You've got to speed that initial process up. And yeah, yes, I know that you should choose the right one, and that does take some time, but there are so many signs that a client can look out for to be able to make that decision without having 2 1 hour meetings.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
responsive is the virtual assistant? What was their comms back to you in the initial engagement? Did they pick up the phone and call you when you had your phone number after that inquiry? What does their proposal look like? Is it well designed? Is their grammar and spelling right? Like, if all of
Yeah.
those things check out and you have a call with them and you get a really good vibe with them and you like them, you should go with them. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Do a
You
trial period, to give them one project to see how they go, or buy one package, 1 month of,
mm,
of hours, a service plan of hours, and just that's it.
mm,
You're not it's not a lifelong commitment, people.
yeah. And if you
Ah,
if you do the if you do the handover training really in a really great way, where you're actually documenting the process or you're doing a video, you can actually just take that and give that to the next person if that person doesn't work out. So try and do some things that future proof what you're actually doing, and don't make you do things more than you have to, or more times
mm,
than you have to. Like, think about how you're actually handing things over, how you're documenting things,
yes.
um, from a client's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All
All
right. Have you got
right.
another one?
No, I think that's. Oh, actually, I do have one.
Okay. I've got one more too.
New virtual assistants are always asking in any groups that they can, how do I find clients? Like, where do I find clients? And it is so frustrating when we see people say Facebook ads. Now, I'm not anti-Facebook ads. I do remarketing Facebook ads. We're about to start doing Facebook ads for Savvy School.
Mm,
Absolutely nothing against Facebook ads. I think they're amazing. They are not the right thing for someone who is a very brand new virtual assistant to be doing. And here is why. They are not going to have the skills to be able to write really great copy
no.
and a really compelling ad that is going to convert right off the bat. So they are going to spend time and money doing something that's not going to get them the payoff. The second thing is that even if you if you use a digital agency or something who's really amazing at Facebook ads, the client is not going to purchase or engage your services off one Facebook ad. So you're going to have to figure out whether it's a whole like story or series, or like a free opt-in, something that's going to be really engaging for those first, like, the first sort of touch point with someone who might be looking for a virtual assistant. And you're not going to know what your target audience is right off the
Mhm.
bat. You're not going to have a clear idea of exactly what services you're going to specialize in. There's all these things that make it such a waste of money.
Yeah.
If you try and do it too early and you haven't figured out some of these things, people aren't looking for a virtual assistant from a Facebook ad. That is a whole trust, no, like relationship decision. It is not an impulse decision from a Facebook ad.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Oh,
I
please
know.
stop telling
I
me
know.
virtual
I hate it
assistants are
too.
Facebook ads.
I hear it all the time as well. This is a common piece of advice that we hear established virtual assistants give newbies all the time. And it's like, no. I mean, there might be 1 out of 100 that takes that advice and they've naturally got that skill and they've, prepared to put a little bit of time into investing in learning about being strategic with your Facebook ads and having a strategy. But that's only going to be 1 in 100, I reckon. Most
1 in
people,
1,000.
yeah, exactly. And it will work for that person. But the rest of you, it is just going to be a waste of your time and your money when you're just starting out.
Yep. Absolutely. So, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that is not our advice for finding clients at
No.
all. This is about building relationships.
If you're a virtual assistant that's listening to this and that's advice that you've given, sorry, we disagree with you. Okay, we've got last one. Last one is I hate copycats more than anything in the world. There's a quote. I'm sure there's a quote which basically says, it's the ultimate form of flattery, isn't there? About when someone copies you. It's like, no, I do not agree with that either. It is not. It is just, it's really hurtful and it makes me really angry when it happens to me, when I see it happening to other virtual assistants. Like I get that there's only so many terms that you can use when describing a virtual assistant business and the value you provide. Like I absolutely get that. So you are going to get kind of those same themes coming through in every virtual assistant's business marketing.
Yeah.
So we're not saying that that's not going to happen. That's absolutely going to happen. But what I'm talking about is when people basically cut or copy and paste word for word other people's copy because they don't have the skills or experience to do it themselves, basically. And I just think, the time and effort that virtual assistant's taken to either do it themselves or they've paid money for somebody else to do it for them, like the really good ones that are just amazing with their messaging and their copy. So it's just really hurtful. And, we're quite a small industry, really. Like a lot of us know each other. A lot of us check each other out. So it's probably, you're going to get caught anyway. Like, why do it? Why take the risk?
Yeah, it's just laziness, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And once again, I've seen some advice given to somebody that was just DIYing their website. They were new to the business. They were like, oh my goodness, I'm just so stuck. I just don't know what to write. It's really hard. It's like, yeah, it is. It's a skill, man. And a lot of people pay a lot of money to learn how to write website copy. So it's not an easy task. And the advice they were given from a fellow virtual assistant was, look, just go onto all these other virtual assistant websites and just see what they've done. Now, they weren't talking about getting inspiration either. They were talking about basically just use what other people have used already just to get you going.
Yeah.
No.
There's a mistake already in that they shouldn't be agonizing over a website.
Yes.
And that sort of proves exactly why you shouldn't do the website too early, is because imagine how much time they spent agonizing over that and just stalled their progress of getting that first client.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, and oh my gosh, please make it your own. Make it something that you've actually thought about. Make it your message. Make it authentically you. Don't go ripping other people off and grabbing their stuff. Yeah.
No. I mean, it was really sweet. I had someone reach out to me recently who said, oh, look, I love black and white. You've got black and white, but, would you mind if I did black and white on mine? Like, no, of course not. I didn't create black and white. So, which it was lovely that this person reached out, but absolutely anyone can do a black and white website for sure.
I mean, there's tons of pink websites out now that are almost the same color as the Strictly Savvy color that we use. Yeah, I don't own that color. Like,
No.
I know that Cadbury can own purple or whatever their color is, and you can own a color, but yeah, it's try and make it different.
Make it your own.
I would actually advise not looking at everyone else's.
Yes.
Because then you get swayed towards something. Like, just if you make it your own without looking at others, then you are going to choose something that's absolutely unique. So
yes.
Yeah.
That's what I did. When I first did my website, we'll talk about the website. It's so easy. And I found myself going on to other people's for about an hour and just getting really overwhelmed and going, oh my God, well, mine's never going to be this good, or I'm never going to talk this way. And so I then just decided, nope, I'm going to stop looking. I'm just going to concentrate on me and what I like and my taste and my personality and put that out there. Yep. And that's the best thing any virtual assistant can do. And that's how you're going to stand out. You're not going to stand out with a cookie cutter look and feel and messaging that everyone else is doing. You're better off just being authentic, being yourself.
Because then you attract the people that are on your same wavelength, that are emitting the same vibe. Like,
exactly.
Attract people. Yeah. That you want to work with and that you enjoy working with. So it makes sense.
Well, that's it. Our rants are finished. We probably could have gone longer had we.
We could have. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed listening to those rants. I'm sure that you might have some comments and maybe you disagree with us on some of them. Like, we'd love to hear, what are your thoughts on some of the topics that we've covered? Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing members club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.